meeting of New Iberia City Council to order. We have the prayer and the pledge led by Councilman Lewis.
Heavenly, all heads bowed. Can we recite our Father's prayer? Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Natalie Robert.
Present.
Councilmember Peggy Durant.
Present.
Councilmember Robert Sweeter.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dan Doyle.
Here.
Councilmember David Merrill.
Here.
Councilmember Raymond Lewis.
Present.
And Councilmember Calvin Dagno.
Here.
And Curry Yellow.
Thank you. The first agenda item is public comment, and I'd ask everyone to please silence any electronic devices that you may have. Public comment is your opportunity to address the council on an agenda item. There's no discussion. It is your opportunity to voice your opinion or concerns concerning an agenda item. You have 3 minutes to speak. We have one person that has requested to speak. It's Mr. Michael Bell, and it's concerning agenda item 6A, which is a resolution granting the mayor the authority to submit necessary documents for the for the Community Development Block Grant.
Right. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Councilman.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm sure you know who I am. I'm just up here for one reason. I'm sure you know whenever I come up here, I try to come up here with something positive and things that make sense, not foolishness. Mayor and council members, I just hope that you use some of that grant money to the West End area for one reason. And I'm sure you know, to make good citizens, you have to have programs for these kids. We have lost a lot in the West End recently. I don't blame one individual. It's the council as a whole. In order to make productive citizens, these kids have to have things to do. Our summer program has been cut, and I just hope that we can take this money, some of the money, and utilize it wisely to bring some programs for these kids in the West End. You see, people don't understand. They have a misconception, and I talk about this over and over again, about the West End. The West End is the diverse community of brown, black, white, yellow people. It is one of the heaviest populated area of the city, but yet we have little things for our children to do. I chose this city from San Francisco to come because this is my home, and I love this city. I'm not even leaving this city. This is my home, and I think it's second to none. But we really need to check ourselves to see the decisions that we're making that might come back to hurt us in the future. Mayor, our children are in dire need. Our little building, what we're doing, see, all this is part of this agenda, so I'm not out of line. We have the good fortune of the good people to put 4 computers on Hopkins Street in our little building to help these kids, because I know these kids are going to be out there. There's nowhere for them to go. A lot of them don't have transportation to get to the city park. A lot of them don't have transportation to get out of the city limit. So it's our responsibility. And again, like I said, it is our responsibility to make these children responsible citizens. And it's not going to work if we keep taking away from them. And that's what we're doing. So I'm asking each city council members to please, before you vote on anything, and I love this city, and I love the people as a whole in New Iberia. I think it's second to none. But We have to make wise decisions and think before we make decisions, because it will come back to hurt us. I had the opportunity, like I told you before, to work in a major city. I still have 5 seconds. To work in a major city. And that major city in San Francisco, and we took a slum area, made it a positive community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Story. I'll make a motion that you continue, Mr.
But
Bell.
it wasn't 3 minutes.
I'll make a motion that you continue with your presentation.
That's fine. If the attorney said it's 3 minutes,
Second.
which it wasn't.
Okay,
But I
just,
can make a motion, Mr. Bell.
just a minute. Mr. Rack made a motion to
That you
extend your
continue.
time, and we had a second by Mr. Lewis.
It's very
Is there
interesting.
any objection? No objection. You may
Yeah.
continue for another 3 minutes. If you'd set the timer,
No,
please.
I just have a short, a few things to say. Accept me for who I am. You must understand this country was built on people voicing their opinion. I serve this country. I love this country. I love this city. And I have a right to voice my opinion. I'm not a militant. I'm just speaking what is right. And if you notice, whenever I come up here, it is not about no certain race. It's about the city as a whole. Because I have enough sense to know that if we don't stick together as one, we're going to fall apart. As one. Mayor, like I said, I don't put the blame on no one individual, because I know it's a job being a mayor. I know this. It's not, it's a lot of responsibility, you know? But I'm just up here because I care. So don't down me for that. You understand? And I can see what we need, because I make it my business to get out there in the street and people come to me and know the needs. And the need is simple. You give something for these kids and the elderly, we're going to give back. And it's just like, for example, the police department. You get to know the people. Guess what? The people are going to look after you. And it's simple. You don't have to be an attorney or a rocket scientist to see that. Just a little common sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Bell. The next agenda item is acceptance of the minutes of the May 5th, 2015 meeting as published on Tuesday, May 5th. This can't be right. Yep. It couldn't have been published, I don't know, when was it
It's the same day.
published?
Let me see. If not, we'll just add them to the next council. Friday. What's that date? Friday.
Can we make a motion to accept it?
8th, May 8th?
May 8th.
May 8th, let me go back. If you would just change it to May 8th. Acceptance of the minutes of the May 5th meeting as published on Friday, May 8th,
Mayor.
2015.
I make a motion with all necessary corrections.
Corrections, thank you, Mr. Lewis. The second by Mr. Bagno. Is there any objection? Okay, all right, that motion carries then. The next is recognition of the track and field team, the 4A champions. I'm glad to see you here. Westgate Track and Field Team won the 4A championship in Baton Rouge on Saturday, May the 9th. This championship is the second state championship in the school history and the first for the track and field team. This championship was a superior performance with only 5 athletes participating in 8 events, and 4 of the 5 scored points. The athletes participating were, and if you please stand and come forward when I call your name, Taylor Fondal, Cole Coutois, George Celestine, August Gray, and Malcolm Peters. And I'd also like to recognize the coaches. I don't know if they're all here or not, but Shelton Booty, Alonza Lewis, Nathaniel Jean-Louis, Philip Guidry, and Gerald Broussard. And I have a certificate of appreciation for each of the teammates. So if you'd like to come forward, I have one for each of you. Congratulations.
Good job, good job.
Oh, wait, I gave you the wrong one. Hand me that one back. It doesn't have the seal on it. Thank you. You made us proud. You're putting Iberia on the map again, huh?
Good
Thank
job,
you.
good job, fellas.
That's so nice.
Right,
Thank you. Congratulations.
good job.
Congratulations. And you know what? I have them for the coaches also. Thank you.
Good job,
Thank you.
coaches.
Uh-huh.
Good job, good job.
Congratulations.
Good job, fellas.
Thank you.
The coaches look like.
Congratulations, and certainly we'd like to hear from you.
Thank you, Mayor. I certainly appreciate the council and this board for allowing us to come in here and recognizing my team. We've worked very diligently throughout the year since January, by the way, and we've just been chugging along, thus far to get to this point. It's been a big achievement for these 5 young men standing behind me here to go ahead and make this run here and bring home the state championship to the city of New Iberia. I mean, you see some other teams out there that are going out there with 15, 18 kids, and we did it with 5. That's phenomenal. That's big in our small world of track and field. That's really huge. So I mean, we're looking forward to making another push at it again next year. I just showed the guys some predictions. We're up there in number 2 as of right now. So we're looking forward to making another run and being back before this board again next year. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for having us here and giving us this recognition, and we sure appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Rack.
Personally, I want to congratulate you, coach, and all of you track team. Sound like I got some relative and constituent. So I want to say to each and every one of you young men, keep up the good work. Keep staying in school and listen to your teachers and your counsel. You got a long way to go, but you can make it. You can be whatever you want to be, and I want to see that, okay? Congratulations.
Mr. Merrill?
Y'all want to thank y'all for the job y'all did. Like your coach said, a lot of them came with 15 or more guys. Y'all did it with 5, so that shows me that y'all have teamwork. That's what it's about. It's not about how many you got, it's how, what y'all can do, what y'all have. Keep up the good work. Thank y'all for the job y'all did.
Mr. Lewis?
Hard work does pay off. And you don't need a bunch of numbers and a bunch of people to get the job done. I'd like to, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention school board member Kenneth Lockett, who coaches at West St. Mary. He's an Iberia Parish school board member. Did bring that to my attention. I said, well, why are you calling me? Don't call me with that. I said, call the mayor, Hilda Rose Day Curry. She can make that happen, because we were a part of, Mayor, if you remember, put a smile on your face. We were a part of that in 2007 when the Bad Boys sponsored a big pep rally and everything else. When they came, basketball team came back with the state championship when they put that leather jacket on you. I still got pictures. Yeah. The man had a biker's jacket. But we're very proud of y'all. Keep doing what y'all doing. But next year, y'all gonna raise the bar high, because they're gonna be coming after y'all in 4A. And keep representing us proudly, and keep doing what you're doing. And y'all doing a lot of constructive things, and for young people, doing a lot of great constructive things, and that's what we want to represent, not only in the city of New Iberia, but in the parish of Iberia. Want good things, good stories to tell. Maybe one day I'll go see y'all playing football, running track. I like to travel, like to go. As you get older, you ain't got too much more you can do, if you got good health, if you're blessed with good health. So I thank y'all coaches for coming, and
again, keep doing what y'all do. Set your bar high.
Thank you. We sure thank you. Thanks for recognizing.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Thank you for being here. Thank you. And our next agenda item, it's my pleasure to introduce to you my first cousin, Eddie Guidry. He's running for, he's a candidate for the 16th Judicial District Judge position, and he's here today to announce his candidacy.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Eddie Guidry. I'm a lifelong resident of the 16th Judicial District Court. I'll be running for Division D seat, which was vacated by Judge Jim McClellan's death in March of this year. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a 1974 graduate from Catholic High School here in New Iberia. I was born and raised in St. Martinville. I received a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Law from LSU in 1978 and my Juris Doctorate degree from LSU in 1981. Passed the bar that year, and I've been practicing law since that time. Initially, the first 4 years of my practice were with the firm of McHugh and Guidry, and for the last 30 years, I've practiced with the firm of Guidry and Guidry, handling trial work throughout the Acadiana area. I've tried cases before judges and juries throughout Acadiana in both state and federal court. I've argued before the courts of appeal, both state and federal, and I have the distinction of being one of the very few Louisiana lawyers to ever argue a case before the United States Supreme Court. My reason for running for judge is to bring fairness to the court. All too often in my 34 years of practice in law, I went and tried cases where I either had an advantage or a disadvantage, either because of the relationship of the parties or the attorneys to the court. And that's something that shouldn't happen. It shouldn't make any difference whether you're black or white or Asian. It shouldn't make any difference if you're from St. Martinville or Gretna or Shreveport. When you go into court, the court should make decisions based on facts and law. One of the things that impressed me as a child, well, I guess I was probably in high school, is my father was a district judge from 1968 to 1976. In 1976, he decided to run for the Court of Appeal. And during that election cycle, he got a phone call from a guy named Mr. Zim. I still remember that to this day. And Mr. Zim told him that he wanted to put on a fundraiser for him. And of course, my dad had no clue who this Mr. Zim was. And Mr. Zim told him that he was a Lafayette resident and that he had had a case before my dad sometime between 68 and 76 that was a title dispute between he and a party from St. Martin Parish. And that his attorney had told him that although the facts and the law he thought were in his favor, he reminded him that, we go into St. Martin Parish and you might get local justice, so we may not win. Well, Mr. Zim did win because the law and the facts were in his favor. And Mr. Zim remembered that, and for that reason, he supported my dad on the Court of Appeals. That's what I want to bring back to the courts of this district. And that's the reason that I'm running. I'd appreciate your vote and your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming. The next agenda item is letters.
Mr. Mayor had something he wanted to.
You had a question?
No, so you had Jan.
Can I ask him a question? What area he covers, the jury? Okay, that's.
She wants to know
Yeah,
what
what
area.
It's if you can figure it out, you're a better person than me. But it's the entire parishes of Iberia, St. Martin, and St. Mary parishes, excluding the minority district, which runs from Franklin to Brobridge. If you know who you voted for in the last election, if you voted in the Sigu and Laurie Landry race, then you wouldn't be able to vote in this race. If you voted in the Watney Thibodeau, you'd be able to vote in this race.
Thank you.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next agenda item 4, is a recommendation of approval to,
Five.
oh, I'm sorry, I can't see. A recommendation of approval to rezone 2 lots from R1 to C3 located at 1416 Fulton Street, owned by James D. Rhodes. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion.
A motion by
Second.
Ms. Robat, a second by Mr. Bagno. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Okay, Ms. Bro is here.
This thing, yeah, two.
Okay, Mr. Doyle, you have a question, and
Yeah, Jay, I had someone call me. It's moving from residential, going to C3 is still not commercial, correct?
Yes, it's commercial. C3 is commercial.
And so his limitations, because I think he wants to just put a shed on the property
Yes.
at this point,
Right.
and he is gonna fence it in? Do you know?
He's right there.
Oh, can we find out?
No, no, I don't, no offense.
No fence, just
No, no
a
fence,
shed
just
for
a shed.
storage? But it can be used for commercial?
Yes.
Okay.
But the purpose of his requesting a rezone was to build for personal use.
But the two lots are still gonna be separate lots?
No, he's going to combine the lots into
So
one.
it's gonna be in one lot?
Yes.
Okay.
I had,
That's
Mr.
good, thank you.
Lewis, Mr. Lewis?
I seen, I pass, I'm all over, despite me being a little under the weather the last 2 months. But, it needed a zoning change for him to build a shed on
It
his.
did, because the shed is considered an accessory building and is only allowed, because it's personal use, only allowed on the same property as a residence. And while he lives a couple of blocks away, he didn't have enough room on his house to build the storage. So in order for him to build it on this piece of property, it has to be zoned commercial.
Really? Well, I wasn't against it, I just saw the zoning sign in the yard.
Yeah.
And I just was curious.
We sent letters out to the neighbors, and the sign's been
Right.
posted for nearly a month now.
Yeah.
And there's been there was no opposition at the meeting, and I've received no notice of opposition.
I know the gentleman in question, and I know the property, I think, has been used for years by him for boats and things like that for storage, so this would just be a better way to clean up that property, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna look cleaner, just to clarify that.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah. that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Motion carries unanimously. The next agenda item is a resolution, Madam Clerk, agenda item 6A.
A resolution granting the authority to Mayor Hilda D. Curry to sign and submit all necessary documents, along with adopting certain policies, plans, and procedures in connection with the Community Development Block Grant Program.
Do we have a motion?
Motion?
Motion by Mr. Bagno, second by Ms. Jurek. Is there any discussion?
Man, I got,
Go ahead, Mr.
I just have one correction. Or I may offer a substitute motion. Maybe I better, let me make sure I'm understanding. The only thing I find on the first sheet, we do have a mayor pro temp as prescribed in the charter. I don't know why he wouldn't be included in the persons to authorize sign request for payment, just in case I assume these other people are there, in case
He's authorized to sign anything in my absence.
Right, but I again, I see for name's sake, I don't see that in there.
We
And I'd
didn't-
like to see the
This
mayor.
came from
Consultant,
the consultants.
Okay, well,
LCDBG.
Well, and let me defer to our attorney. Do you see any necessity? We've never.
He's automatically a signatory. He stands in the place of the mayor if the mayor can't or is unable to fulfill his duties.
okay, but,
So by authorizing the mayor, you are authorizing
Right.
him in her stead if she's not available to do it.
We don't put it in any of the any documents
Okay.
for the last 11 years. His name has
I
not
don't
been.
recall, I'm not gonna say it's not, but I just noticed on this one.
Well,
What's the problem in those statutory, including his name on it? Is that, Mr. DeQuier, that big of a,
Well,
or
if
is
you
it
included
not?
his name in it, then you would include more than one person who could sign the document. You're saying by this that the mayor is authorized to do it.
Right.
The charter says that he stands in her place if she can't execute
Okay,
it or
well,
she's out of town.
okay, well, I'm seeing two other people that's able to. Right there, at the bottom. See?
Well, if, when it comes, does it require one signature, two signatures, three signatures to accept the money? I don't get what we're going.
But are they witnesses?
Yeah, what? Yeah, well, I ain't got no problem with none
Yeah,
of them, I'm
same.
just asking.
You sign as the clerk, she signs as city treasurer.
Okay.
There's a place for you to sign on here.
Okay, well, it's not saying, employees actually sign the authorized signature card. Okay. All right, Mr. DeQuier, we don't need to wreck our brains, I'm good with it. Yes, okay, all right.
Just to clarify, sometimes I do get
Mr.
called
Doyle?
to sign things up here, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Mr. Rack?
ask questions.
I know you're applying for this for the sewer, system in the Persian Street area, but I wanna know what else could that block grant be used for?
We have not applied for anything but sewer in the last few years. I'd have to get back with Richard Menville and find out exactly what we're eligible to apply for at this time. We've
No,
always,
I'm talking about what is the block grant money for?
that's what I'm telling you.
I know it's for park and recreation, housing and things like that, they can use it. Sewage,
Right,
and
there
so
are
forth.
there are other things that you can apply for, but because we have had so much sewer work with the consent decree for the last 11 years, we've applied for it. And that's what I'm telling you, I don't have that in front of me right now.
I understand.
To give you all the detailed information, I wish you had called me, you know, when you got your packet, I would have been glad to have it available tonight.
Yeah, but I wasn't aware of this, cause I know what the community development block grant money is all about. It's for the low income area where
Right.
it's available, like my
Right.
area is
And with-
available for block grant money, I've been dealing with it a long time. And they used to repair houses in the area, and they used to use some of the money in the parks.
We did do that for disability, we also did it, there was a separate grant a while back, remember when we repaired all
Yeah.
those homes for disabled individuals, we did, handicap
I
accessibility.
understand.
I'm not sure what other,
I'd like to find
that
out.
grant ran now,
When we apply for this grant, if we could apply, put on side when we get this grant, $100,000 for a splash pad
Oh,
in Weston Park.
You can't apply for splash grants with a
Why?
community.
Because
You
this
can't.
grant is specially written with the requirements.
But they say
that
the
must be
council can
fulfilled.
amend it. I think I read it.
Which Richard Menville.
Only the council can amend it,
But you can't, I know you can't buy splash pads with a community
not
development
buy
block
one,
grant.
put one.
I know you can't do, I'm positive about that you cannot buy a splash pad with community development block grant.
I would like to get a
We can
clarification on
postpone
that.
this, voting on this.
Because-
Was that, there's no deadline,
We
there's,
we have a timeline, it has to be in Baton Rouge.
it has to be in Baton Rouge by when?
June first.
So we lose
All
it.
these-
We won't have a,
We
we
need
won't.
to have these documents signed.
Yeah, but we
Okay,
shouldn't
but-
apply for this in a hurry
It's
either.
already
Give
been
us
applied
time
for.
to,
It's already
to,
been
Wait,
to
just a
look at it
minute,
and-
just a minute.
We're just doing.
What it's already been accepted?
Yes, we've already gotten it. We've just signed it.
This is a grant week.
This is
Oh,
just-
this is not the application.
No, it's an
Oh,
authorization.
it's an authorization for me to sign the paperwork.
I
This is one
understand.
that's already been approved. We
But
can't
I'm
change
also
it.
reading in this that only the council can amend this grant, only the council.
Okay, Mr. Rack, this is a grant that y'all have already
I understand.
approved. And what we're saying is we need to get this documentation in by a certain period
get
of
the
time.
grant.
In the future, I will ask Richard Menville to come to a meeting and present to you what you can apply for a community development block grant what opportunities are available. But at this time, this is one that's already been accepted, and we have to move forward on it or we're gonna lose it.
Lord, in the meantime, I'd like to have Mr. Mandel to come to the next meeting if he can, to explain what this is used for.
We'll have him come to the next meeting and,
Because I called the office in Lafayette in the parish, and they told me what the grant is eligible for with the block grant money.
Okay.
But we have, the other council member have voted to give this to the sewer plant. How many years have this been done?
we've been giving it to the sewer plant since I took office in 2005 because we've been under a consent decree and we've needed
I understand,
every
but,
penny we could get
but
to
that too, that's why my
comply.
district is suffering so much. No money is going into the district. And that's why I'm asking, because I'm accountable for the district.
Right,
And
Mr.
there's
Wright.
nothing I could do without no money. And I would like to see if the council could amend this. I'm asking, we could look at it in the future. It's not even funny.
I don't think that we can
But-
amend this particular grant. We've already applied for and received
Well, why they
it
give us this?
for the, it is to,
says
this,
it on there.
this is to allow me to, sign any documentation that pertains to this particular grant for the Pershing Street, sewer project. And it allows me to sign the paperwork and documentation that applies to this particular grant.
Okay, to
Y'all
the-
already accepted it, Mr.
Well,
Rapp.
let me just say this, because you're giving us that to sign, and it's already accepted, but I'm gonna say, I got this, I wasn't aware that you already. Be it further resolved that the update citizen participation plan previously adopted on July the 7th, 2009 is still in effect for this and any other active community development block grant program, and shall remain in effect for further community development block grant program until amended by the Board of Trustees. I think we are the Board of Trustees.
I
know.
don't think this can be amended. I don't, can you help us
Okay,
with this,
okay.
Mr.
Second page,
DeQuier?
yourself.
I've never had, I wish that y'all had,
Second page, the last
But,
page.
but you know what, Mayor, that, in the previous, mayor, and whenever we had a contract or something like this, we held a little meeting in the conference room, which we hardly ever
They
use.
approved this already,
And we go over these documents.
this
you
is
know,
approved. Y'all,
I understand it.
Mr. Rack, let me just, before you go on, y'all approved this project already. This has been approved by the council. This is to allow me to
Okay,
sign
move on.
the documentation and all. You have already approved this grant.
Okay.
If you would like to apply for something different in the future, I will have Mr. Mendel come here
Yeah,
and
have him
explain
come
to
here
you
and that's
what
cut
you
and
can
dry.
apply for,
Okay.
but we have already applied for this and it's been accepted.
Okay, we just got to
And y'all
sign it.
voted on it in the past. This is, you've
What
already
date we
voted on
voted
it.
on this?
Oh, we'd have to go pull it up in the records.
Period, you need to have something in there, you just punch in any question come up and could answer us right then and there. Okay, I would like to have the date that you approved this.
Okay, Mr.
Yeah.
Merrill?
Never get.
Mr. Wright called me and talked to me about that too. But my thing is this, if we have another area where we can get some money to
Right.
be able to look at doing what she wants to do, I really think it is needed for those kids in the West End Park. So what I'm saying is if we can look at some other area where some grant money might be available that we can apply for, I think we should look at that.
And I said we
Plain and
would,
simple.
and that's what we're saying, that this is one that was already been
I already
accepted
know
by the
that.
council.
But I know what she wants to
And
do.
in the future, I just told her that, we'll get Mr. Mandel to come here and explain to the council what it can be applied for. And if y'all wanna apply for something else next time, now that we're gonna be out of the consent decree, hopefully,
Yeah, something that can help bring,
that's right. But
bring
we-
something to the kids.
We
in the-
did,
yeah,
everybody
that's it.
more or less agreed in the past to continue with wastewater because we were under the consent decree.
Right.
Mr. Lewis?
Yeah, that's,
discussion.
you know, I understand Mr. Rack's frustration, but, you know, so far as community block grants are concerned, where we could apply for other things, but I think it was the consensus, of
Consent decree.
the consent decree, 'cause, I'm not going to jail behind, like Tom Eggman Hugh, the former mayor of Baton Rouge. He came up in here, didn't he say the Judge
Oh, I thought you said-
Pomazana ordered them to be
Right,
picked
you're
up
absolutely
right in here?
correct. Right.
And I'm not going to jail. I don't think the sheriff would even want me in there, not with these health issues that I'm going through, because
got that.
something go happen in there with me right about
They
now.
got that.
Ain't gonna be good. I got a minor son. But I'm just, I understand, but this consent decree we need to finish this, lock this up,
How
drive this
long?
home. Well, I don't know. I mean, we got till the end of
This year. And-
this year and then they
And
have
the-
to.
And the
look-
federal government has to release us. We
Right.
have not been released.
So we have to have
So-
another year, maybe,
Maybe.
before they release us. But I do understand Ms. Jirac's frustration, but
I-
at this point, jail is
Okay.
not a,
Yes, ma'am.
option
Ms.
for me.
Robin?
ain't never been.
Ms. Robin?
Just for clarification purposes, because I'm reading the last paragraph and I see where Ms. Jirac was going, with the word amended, but from how I read it, it says that we can amend the participation plan, which to me reads, we can change if we want to participate or not. So I think, just for clarification, her question was more directed toward, now that we've applied, been approved for it, and we are receiving the check, that the purpose for the application cannot, I think that's more or less the question.
Exactly.
The purpose of the application cannot be changed once submitted, yay or nay?
No, it
No.
cannot.
Okay, so that means we can't change it.
We can apply for other.
for
Future
another-
grants.
But this one, the
That's-
plan for the check
The
cannot be
same
amended.
And
community
that's,
development.
and I
That's the
agree.
question that I asked, and I asked what the money could be spent for. And right now, I'm saying, if we, or demand it, or order that we must give it to the sewer plant for the next year coming in, we apply for it to do something in the park for these kids. Any other type of grant that we have, I'm pleading to y'all, that somebody do a research and study. The park is in terrible condition. Terrible, you got to go see it.
Councilman Jirac, it's not an either or, you can apply for both of them.
But I'm saying we need to apply, at the mercy of me and my constituents.
Okay,
Cause it is a dime. I went to the park yesterday. I'm well now. I'm wide awake.
okay.
I
Well,
sit down at that
Miss-
bench.
we
and
off the
let me
subject
finish.
right now,
Let
though,
me finish,
Mr. Rack.
please. No, it's still on community development block grant money.
Parliamentarian.
I don't see why I'm off. Why?
Because we need to decide on this grant for sewer,
Well, we're
whether or
gonna
not
vote
you
for
wanna
it
vote
regardless.
for
We're
it.
gonna vote for it.
And
ma'am.
then you're off on the parks right now, Mr. Rack.
No, but I asked about the money for the park, and I'm asking in the previous year coming in that we apply for money for the Western Park, a splash pad and something. We trying to raise money for playground equipment right now, and we working real hard. But I'm saying I'm gonna vote for it. I just asked some questions. Now let's move on and vote if you
All
want
right,
to. That's the end
please
of
vote your machines.
Man,
Motion carries unanimously. The next,
or your machine, I'm sorry. I'm gonna vote for it.
and we'll ask Mr. Benville to come to the next
Yeah,
meeting,
please,
Mr.
ma'am.
Rack.
I wanna find out.
The,
Yeah.
next agenda item is agenda item 6B, a resolution, Madam Clerk.
Resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the Iberia Parish School Board for the use of the administrative building number 23 at 502 Amber Drive in New Iberia, Louisiana, and the adjacent parking lots. This is during emergency situations for the staging of the city personnel and the city equipment during hurricanes and rising water.
And, we need a motion
So
and a
motion.
second. Motion by Mr. Merrill, second by Mr. Begnaud. And this is a formality. We do this every year prior to hurricane season.
Just
Um,
to the point of order, she's already got the votes on there, so, and she's got, Mr. Rack and Mr. Merrill as being absent on there, so you may wanna.
Oh, that must have been one we pulled.
Absent on what?
I got
She
it.
just has the votes already listed on that one.
All right.
It's just probably just a typo.
Okay.
It's a typo, that was,
I just pulled it from last year.
All right.
What was you saying?
it's a,
Y'all
it's
already
a,
just put the wrong paper in
They
the
put the
packet.
wrong votes on here.
it was-
They need
But
to-
it's the same, it's the same
same
information.
Oh, but
information.
they need to be careful.
Okay, please vote your machines on this one.
All the time. Y'all be doing something here.
Motion carries unanimously. The next agenda item is 6C, and it's a resolution awarding bids for road materials. If you remember, when we did our 6-month bid, there were no unit prices for cement. So this is just for the cement. And, the award was, let me see, Baldwin Ready Mix. And you have the unit price in your packet. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Begnaud, second by Mr. Ratt. Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I see, when we bid these things, like on this one, you had 1, 2, 3, 4 paper bids and 1 through online. Is there any way we can, you know, if we send out these bids, to get them, they not bidding, to put no bid, to show at least they got the information from us? Because I know sometimes when I bid projects, we got at least notified we did receive it, because even though we send it to them, how do we know they received the packet or not? Is there any way we can do that? But if you can ask, say, we would like, please, can you respond if you're not? Because what happens if you send it to 4 and you only get 1, and they didn't get the packet?
Well, that's,
Say it went to the wrong address.
well, we provide it both in writing and in email, and then it's also posted on that central auction, which we're required to by state statute. So if they don't respond, I mean, we'd have to, especially when we do in 6 months too. I mean, we have like, you know, I don't know, it's 5 or 6 different types of bids. You're dealing with probably, you know, 40, 50 different vendors. We'd have to start making phone calls to make sure that they're gonna reply.
Now, if this bid, if say Barrett Concrete, because that's who would bid, part of this
Correct.
package,
Barrett.
if they would not have bid the project, it'd been only 1 bidder,
Correct.
we would just accept that?
Yes.
Look,
Does somebody, I'm
no,
just-
that's not all you can do. I mean, I know things that's, I'm just a check.
Well, we're required to do the cement because we buy more than $30,000 annually worth of the cement. So we're required to do it semi-annually. You know, 6 months is the shortest period of time that we're required to do it. So we do it every 6 months. The reason that the cement is separate is because nobody responded to the cement when we did the 6 month. So we did a separate one because we couldn't go without having a cement because we're gonna be buying the cement.
I
But I
just,
don't
because
know
I
that
know
we can-
sometimes you can send out 10 proposals and
Oh,
one might just
And we
get
do.
it.
I mean, you can see all these
Yeah.
people on the front page. This is everybody that received a copy of the packet.
Because like the street cleaner, we amended the budget last
Street
meeting.
sweeper.
Yeah. Now, we've been, we're gonna bid
Hasn't been
that,
bid out yet, but it will be.
but it will be bid out. And then before we accept it, we'll get those proposals.
Yeah, the
Okay.
actual bids will come before the.
Bids, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
yes.
for y'all to accept the
Okay, I was just
awards.
wondering, because I know a lot of times when you bid a project, you don't get a lot of response.
And sometimes, like, if, you know, if there's more than one thing on there, say like Baldwin doesn't, normally on the road materials bid, it's cement, it's,
Mm-hmm.
limestone and different things. So like if Baldwin doesn't sell the limestone, just
They
as
just
an
won't bid.
example, they'll put no bid on their packet, but they won't, if they're not gonna, like, if it's somebody that doesn't provide cement or limestone, or they're not interested in being stuck, you know, with a contract for that long of a period of time, not knowing if prices are gonna increase or not, or something, they just won't
bid.
respond.
Okay, it was just a question, I was wondering, thank you.
Okay.
I got a
I have a
question.
question off of that.
Ms. Roban?
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a business owner that feels like they've been neglected from our list? That, I mean, I'm just wondering,
If there's
No,
somebody.
they have some people ask me, how do I get on the list to bid with the city?
Oh,
and
Yeah.
okay, and so for
I told them.
clarification purposes.
We've never had any, we haven't had a problem with that. I would think if somebody wants to bid and they haven't gotten a packet, they would call us and ask us.
If anyone would like to bid on a job with the city, please contact the city of New Ivory.
Yeah,
That's what I told them.
contact the finance department.
I'd like to,
Yes.
yeah, I'd like to,
Yeah.
It-
I'd like
And
to
it's
follow
on,
up,
it's
please.
on the internet also.
I'd like to
Okay.
follow up with that.
Yes, Mr. Begum?
Kimberly, if we send out packets, we mail out packets, we send emails, and we put it on
Web-
the central
pretty-
auction house.
well, it's
That's
pretty-
3 separate forms, but when we mail the package, do we certify mail them, or do we,
No.
how expensive do you think that would get?
It's almost $7 a piece of mail
That's what I was
to
about to
send
say.
it
So
certified.
certified would be
Yeah.
an next
Well, in
cost.
addition to mailing it, emailing it,
Yeah,
we put it in the Daily Iberian. We're
Right.
required to advertise it twice by state law, and we have to post on central auction.
yeah.
So, you know.
I mean, you can't, You can't go over there and hand it to them and say, hey, you're gonna bid or not. That's, okay.
I mean,
But I was just curious
Well, I
about
mean, unless we're
certified
gonna
mail.
hire a service process.
So everything on central auction, like you,
Yeah, it's all on
everything?
that central
Okay.
auction.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lewis?
Look, I just have just a quick thought on this, because I have served as a school board member, and maybe moving forward, this would help alleviate some of that. I don't want to do what the school board did. They would actually open the bids with all 14 members. No, I don't want to do that. But when you don't, if say you have a list of people that may apply and whatever, the process of elimination, all it just said, they didn't submit a bid. That's the easiest way, no bid. And that alleviates who wanted to, who didn't see it in the paper or whatever. It was no bid. These are the only bids we received. The ones who responded to whatever we bid now. And nobody else bid on it. And I think that would alleviate that. I don't want to get to the opening bids in front.
Is this sufficient for what you're describing? It says right here
Yeah,
that the bid was mailed
that's
to
the
those
two.
four.
That's,
Right. And
from
then
what
it
I
was-
see, yeah, that's the two that I would take it, that submitted bids.
Right, so we sent it to those four, and
But-
the
but you
two didn't respond, I mean,
respond.
two responded, so
Just-
two
you
didn't, and then
receive-
nobody.
You just didn't receive a bid. This is
Okay.
what we got.
Okay, anybody else? Please vote your machines. Motion carries. The next agenda item is 6D, a resolution approving the City of New Iberia, Louisiana Administrative Plan for Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Program. Motion by Mr. Rack,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Roban. Is there any discussion? Please vote your machines. Motion carries unanimously. The next agenda item is a budget amendment.
An ordinance amending the ordinance levying certain taxes appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the City of New Iberia for the year 2014-2015.
Okay, and this is a request to the council. We have sufficient money in our drainage fund now. We just received a check for a little over $1 million. And one of the top projects that we have submitted to capital outlay and have not received funding for, and was also one of the studies that was done by Fence to Maker, was to address the drainage issues on Jefferson Terrace. So we did get a bid, not a bid, but an estimate, an engineering estimate to address the drainage issues on Jefferson Terrace, and it would be $1,524,000. We do have sufficient money in the funds to do this project if the council so chooses. So we're submitting this to you to see if you would approve this project.
They're getting the money out of mosquito control.
Out of mosquito control. And this was, when we had listed the different projects, the next ones that were prioritized, this was the next one that had been prioritized. And like I said, in addition to that, it's one of the projects we've sent to capital outlay for request, but we won't receive that money this year.
Shut down Jefferson every time it rains.
It's bad. So, I mean, it's up to this council, we're presenting it to you, it's up to you whether or not you think that this is a worthwhile project. But if it is, we'll move forward on it. Mr. Merrill?
Yeah, I think it is. It's in my district too, and I agree with Mrs. Weir say, every time it rains just a little bit, you have a lot of flooding problems, and then it's a heavily area for traffic, so
It is.
we definitely need to take care of it more than a lot of other areas in the city.
Mr. Lewis?
Well, I'd agree, but it impacts a large drainage area. We have our schools, we have everything else. The only thing I want to make the administration and the council aware of is that we did, or some months ago, the council voted to take in some state streets. And if y'all not familiar, go get familiar as well with South Corrine Street that floods heavily.
Yes.
Off of 675 Hopkins. The water either drains to going towards Armico Canal, or it drains towards Old Johnson Street School, John and Bowden Funeral Home, And so in the near future, because we did have a study on that, by Fence to Maker, the same people who studied this, that said due to flooding, we can take in Hopkins Street, we can do that, but in the future, I like that looked at too on Corrine, where I don't want to say the public school closed because of just that. I think it was landlocked, but it's still it's a detrimental situation when it get the least amount of rain. So I'm supporting this.
And I have to agree with Mr. Lewis about the chlorine, because if you flood the school sometime, they can't get out. The water go down before they go home and they could get out. But that is a bad area, and I agree with you. Maybe request that they clean some of those drains in that area. It might help.
But the pipe's so small.
Pipes are small.
Just try.
We need to
But
change.
in the meantime, I'm saying,
Ms. Roban?
Is this job one that will be contracted out, or is this
Yes,
something we're gonna be
yes.
doing in-house?
We'll have to bid it out.
contract.
It's gonna be contracted
We
out,
can't
and
do
do we
anything
know?
over 150,000.
Okay, and do we know, how much of the road, like, is it gonna be tearing up a lot of the road? Is it just gonna be
Sidewalk
like doing
side.
an
Mr.
intersection
Leroy,
to
do you
divert
know
it?
how much of the road will be torn up?
All on the sidewalk part?
Wow.
Okay.
and be doing
The new
that.
sidewalk?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there was free sidewalk though.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it was a
Well,
grant.
it was
It
a
was
grant.
We
hate to
It
see
was-
it.
We've had
Oh,
labor, Public Works put them in,
But
but
when you do a drainage project that side,
That's-
Mr.
it's-
Leroy, sometimes pipe cross the street. Then they did it on Hopkins Street. They put those big,
They already have some crossings on Justin.
you already have them?
The engineer's still studying, but I don't know if we'll need any additional crossings, but if they do, I'm sure he'll recommend them.
and they'll have to
Because
repair
that
the
area
sidewalks
is
and
big.
put them
That was
back.
gonna be my next question.
They-
This estimate
yes.
is to include repair of the
Right,
sidewalk.
they'll have to
once
repair
it's
the
done.
sidewalks and put everything back in the same condition that
And
it's
that-
in.
Okay, that's all I have.
Mayor,
Yeah,
question.
work.
Yes, sir.
Of all the projects we looked at before, this was one that was originally on the drainage project.
Right,
we
it
talked
was on
about.
our
what?
list.
How far are we
It's on
on
top.
all of those? Is this the last one, or there's some
No.
that we
Oh,
haven't?
on
no,
top.
we have a lot more.
Oh, no. You wanna
But
see
this
the
was one
list?
of the major thoroughfares, and we really have an issue.
Okay,
And like
don't
I
have-
said, we
I don't
thought
have a
it
problem
was,
with that. I'm just curious.
you know, we thought that it was so significant that we did even ask for state capital outlay funds. It's been on our capital outlay request for a number of years.
Okay.
So, we've put enough money aside over the years with, the mosquito control money to be able to do this project if y'all so choose.
Mayor.
Oh, we don't have a first and a second on the floor, I'm
We'll make a
sorry.
motion.
Motion by Mr. Doyle.
I thought we did.
Second.
Oh, I thought we did too.
Didn't we have one?
Yeah.
Motion by Mr. Doyle, second by Mr. Rack.
Okay.
Okay, who else had, Mr. Merrill?
Yeah, Mr. Landry, as far as the traffic goes, when they do it and they do it in sections, will they have somebody that will be able to detour the traffic or whatever? Because there's a lot of traffic on that
Yes.
area.
And this project will only go to the mayor,
Okay,
so.
From where
only
to the
part
mayor?
of it,
right,
taking it to the bayou.
okay.
Mr. Doyle, did you have
Mr.
something?
Leroy,
St. Peter.
do you know if they just put more catch basins or they putting larger pipes?
There's no pipes underneath the track, so we gotta cross the track, go underneath
Oh,
the track
that's a job.
and go
So
to the
you-
bayou.
So you're going to the bayou with it?
Yes,
So all the way across the tracks through, all the way to the bayou?
yes.
Really?
I suggested to the engineer, turn west, east, and then go down Evangeline, go north. We have a longer street closer to the bayou.
So you could be doing the work on the east side of Justin Terrace? Or both
East
sides?
side.
On the east
going
side?
west,
East
Like
side,
on the bank
going
side
north.
and all that?
going north,
Yeah,
south.
and we'll go that far, just to the mayor.
Just to the mayor?
When Jefferson Terrace was first designed, Mayor Daggett told me they put it right there to build a new bridge to cross over right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Designed to cross.
That was the design.
It'd be right over.
That's a job.
It'd be right over.
Okay, are y'all ready to vote on this one?
Yeah.
Ma'am.
Please vote your
Yep, it's right
machines. Motion carries unanimously. The next agenda item was placed on the agenda by Mr. Merrill, and it's, discussion concerning smoking in bars. And I'm gonna turn the floor over to Mr. Merrill.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to just say that this information I came up with is not to blight any smokers or anything like that. Everybody have their their own choices as far as what they want to do as far as smoking. But I was looking at this for a long time, and then I saw when Lafayette decided to take it on as a project as well. And I know New Orleans, they've did 100% no smoking in bars and everything. I think it's, you know, for us to be able to step up into what's going on in the state of Louisiana. You have a lot of venues that have already got on board. I left information for the city council and the mayor for them to look at on different areas of this, and I'm just gonna give you a little bit of information. The goal of this campaign is to normalize the growing movement towards smoke-free Louisiana and identify opportunities to support and expand smoke-free environments across the state, and an eventual greater increase of smoke-free policies at the local and statewide level. Is that a statewide message and a movement that highlights the progress in Louisiana's communities of smoke-free and tobacco-free policies. It also highlights the more than 300 smoke-free and tobacco-free policies throughout the state, ranging from smoke-free municipalities to tobacco-free college campuses, hospitals, and parks also. And it draws attention to shines a light on the fact that the majority of Louisianans, 79% of them, do not smoke. Only 21% of them do. And in an attempt to help ease the fears of business owners and policymakers in the decision to establish smoke-free events, venues, and ordinances. Few things I want to bring to your attention is more than 7,000 chemicals, including hundreds that are toxic and about 70 that can cause cancer, are in smoke. And another thing too is a large majority of people that go in restaurants and bars, if you take a count of the people that go in bars, even the bars that might have 100, 200 people in it, the larger majority of the people that's going to be in there is going to be non-smokers. So, you know, secondhand smoke can kill. My mother died of cancer, and I also did vow myself to do anything I can to help in any area that can help people to be healthier and smoke-free. We have a lot of young people. We're moving to another century in our communities, and looking at some of the other areas that have adopted it, like New Orleans. I know you can't compare New Iberia to New Orleans, but New Orleans has a lot of people come to that city. They have a lot of bars, they have a lot of entertainment. By going smoke-free in the areas, it didn't stop anything for them. It actually helped them to get more people that weren't smokers to start coming out to their bars. And I also have some information that I want you to look at that has on here as far as in 1964, 2.5 million non-smokers have died from exposure to secondhand smoke. Smoke-free laws can reduce the risk of heart disease and lung cancer among non-smokers. And also you have information on the filing pages back here to support a lot of other areas as far as workplaces, public places, and all of those things too. And I want to draw attention to some of the bar owners that have looked at this and have made some statements on it. This guy, Jeffrey Carreras, he's the owner of Tracy's, and he said hopefully patrons of kind of abide with it and understand it. I think it would be nice not to have smoke-filled bars. And then another owner on Carrollton Station, which is in the New Orleans area, he said since we went smoke-free, we have doubled business, and I wouldn't have believed it. So there's a lot of good things about it, and if you're going in a restaurant, they have a lot of sports bars that / have restaurants where people eat too. It's hard for you to enjoy your food if somebody's smoking right up on the side of you. I just think that is something that we should look at as far as taking us into the future, and I would just hope I get y'all consideration on this. And on the last part of my information, I pulled up all of the cities that have adopted this and the venues that's in these cities that have adopted non-free and smoke-free bars. And if anybody has any questions on it, Natalie?
I have a quick question. Have you talked to any bar owners in Iberia Parish yet?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because for me, that's my biggest thing is to hear from them, you know, what they think their clientele is, what they think it isn't, what they think it would be. You know, I think that's who I'd like to hear from the most. I mean, I know we can't get them here, but, you know, we can't make them come here, but if it's something you want to push forward, maybe it'd be something if you're willing to talk to them. And
sure.
If they don't want to come, at least submit something on their behalf. That way we can kind of see.
Well, what I did too is I had a call from the Daily Iberian about it earlier during the week, and they put a little something in the paper about it, so I was kinda hoping also that some bar owners would come out and voice their opinions on it.
One contacted me in opposition of it, and then I had one resident call me today of my district who doesn't smoke, who opposes it, which I thought was totally
weird.
surprising. But, I mean, I guess, I don't know, I'd just be interested to see, it's not like we're a big party town, so I guess my biggest concern is that, are there that many people in New Iberia who want to go to the bar, who don't go because they're smoking in it? I feel like there's a limited amount of people in this city that go to the bars, and I don't think they have much room. I don't know. I don't know that if we banned it, that their business would increase. I don't know that there's that we have that type of social scene where it's a demand for it. Do I personally like to go in a bar without smoke? Yes, I do. But I just don't know, and it's a decision that will affect, and I'd also like to know exactly how many bars we have operating here. I mean, I know we have at least, a good 7 in the city limits. How many bars we have operating here, because essentially we're gonna affect that revenue, and whether it's gonna be negative or positive, I don't think that's something we can predict. And especially with the New Orleans thing, I don't think that that's been in effect long enough to appropriately see the study of how that's gonna affect their money.
Well, it hasn't affected their money, cause they have,
Well, I know I've heard
they
the
just had.
casinos, I've read that the casinos have lost a lot of business. I know a casino is not a bar.
We see, that's what I'm saying. You
But-
see, that's what I said on here too. If you look at some of the information, casinos is not part of what I'm trying to do.
Well, we don't have casinos here.
Right.
Legally, you
But
can't have a
even though
casino here, so
casinos,
it's
you know,
not
I'm looking
applicable,
at
but-
the bars and the restaurants. Now, casinos, they're under different precincts.
Mm-hmm.
People go to casinos, a lot of them to gamble. They don't go just to hang out and just sit down, and have drinks. But a lot of people do go to bars to sit down and have drinks.
Yeah, but if you're gonna have a bar that can't drink, the casino should be held there too. Cause we have these truck stops that they have, there's casinos and everything.
We don't have casinos here.
Mr. Lewis, I'm sorry, you've been having your hand up.
Yeah, ma'am,
You've been
I
very
was one that, and I like to thank my constituents and businesses in my district that know I've been having a few health issues. They haven't bothered me, but yesterday I got quite a few calls on this issue. No, I don't like to compare New Iberia to no other place. We don't have the tax bases that Orleans has, or Lafayette. I was looking on TV last week. They were showing just different stats of restaurants and new restaurants and bars that have come throughout the state. I was surprised, I think it was Shreveport, Monroe, had more bars and restaurants anywhere throughout the state of Louisiana, and New Orleans came in 4th, 3rd to Lafayette. And I understand, what Mr. Merrill is saying, but here in our city, I don't know of a restaurant you can go in and smoke. I hate to be specific, but I eat out. I go to Clementine's. They have a courtyard restroom. I go to Little Rivers Inn. They have they don't allow you to smoke in. Neither does Clementine, but out front, they got you way in the hedges in the front of Little River Inn if you want to take a puff. But in New Orleans, you have drinking everywhere. And then you have the strip joints everywhere in New Orleans. New Iberia is not. New Orleans or Homer or Monroe, Lafayette, and legal, smoking is legal. Smoking is legal. It ain't like crack, going to smoke crack. It ain't letting you do it, number one, nowhere in the state or this country that I know of. But,
You mentioned Alexandria too. Alexandria is 100% all bars in Alexandria And you
But-
have venues in Shreveport and Monroe is 100% too.
Right,
All
but
bars.
I'm talking about bars and restaurant as per a KLFY TV 10 last week. I just seen the growth. I was speaking of the growth, and who has the growth throughout the state. But, I think that's an adult, decision. New Iberia doesn't have that tax base that some of these other people, and I wouldn't wanna hurt, my businesses nowhere in this city. Cause smoking is legal, and you wanna make that decision where secondary smoke is proven by research that it causes, but if you wanna put yourself in that kind of,
That's legal in all the other businesses doing everything.
Right.
Only in bars.
right, right.
Well, you got a lot of other
Right.
areas too, and
Right.
airports and a lot of other stuff have went to it. People's not gonna stop flying just because
No.
they say they,
No.
if you wanna smoke, it is like you said, it's a thing, but
Go
you
in
have a
a
lot of
certain area.
smokers that respect other people and they go outside and smoke.
Mhm.
You know, but the truth is, the matter of fact, through the information I've gathered, and you can go online and check it out yourself, even if you got a small bar or a big bar, that has nothing to do with the fact that if you got a small bar and they got 50 people in there, I guarantee you, 10 or 20 of them is smokers and the rest are not. The large majority of people that's in the bars and restaurants are not smokers. You know, and secondhand smoke is
think-
something that years ago that wasn't looked at as far as it's looked at now. Cancer is one of the main killers. It used to be heart attacks and strokes, but it's cancer now. And you have people in some of this information, if you read it, that have died from secondhand smoke. They never picked up a cigarette in their life. You know?
Mr. Magno?
Well, just for the sake of conversation, because that's what we're doing and discussing to see if this further research needs to be done, but a couple points was that, yes, and I may be wrong, but I don't think you can smoke in an area where food is served. I don't know if that's a state law. Is that not?
It's a percentage
State law.
of your
Yeah,
food
It's a
has to
state
be
law.
more than
Right, right. So this is strictly for bars. And then in New Orleans, I think there are some cigar bars, I think they put on the side. So they do have there's exceptions. So, you know, there's some things we would really need to consider, but I think one of the things that, in listening to the discussion, we need to be concerned of too, is that should we do that for the city, what happens to the parish bars? And do we send our patrons to the outside areas? Do we lose money from here for them going out into the other areas of the parish? So I think we need to maybe pursue this a little further or research a little further and see if the parish would be willing to go in with us. And if you're gonna do it parish-wide, then, you know, maybe we have something there. It's something we need to see, but at this point, that's my thoughts at this point.
Mr. Swear?
That article, Chubby Carey, that was the one in Lafayette, he was the one that put the guy from the pushing it real hard in Lafayette to be pushed, you know, for no smoking. Cause he said his father died from that, you know, he was the biggest movement, he had the biggest movement in Lafayette to push it. He gotta play music in those ballrooms and all that. And he was getting them to stop it, cause his father never smoked, but he had to have that secondhand smoke.
You're right, Mrs. Swift. That was a big part of a lot of this study too.
But I
about
mean,
that.
with bars and, I mean, I'm not a frequent bar hopper, but, and, I mean, I am young enough to still enjoy things. But I don't know that bars downtown in New Iberia really don't, that is a very good point, and I know that was
They
a
do
big
have
thing in
bands
New
and bars
Orleans.
downtown. They do, from a lot of different times of the year. different
Bands and
events.
bars, musicians in the bars downtown, I guarantee you, like, the Carabella's has live entertainment maybe once every 3 months, one weekend every 3 months, if that, pushing it. And Napoleon's has a guitarist, like same thing, maybe once every 3 months. Not because they don't want to, but because one, they don't have the market to charge cover, to
you have
compensate for it,
DJs,
and
you
two,
have
their
DJs
facilities
too.
aren't big enough to accommodate large bands.
But you have DJs
So-
too, they fall into the same category
Yeah,
as
you have
entertainers.
DJs too, but like I said, I'd be more interested to see what the public wants. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm open to talk about it. I mean, I'm definitely open for it, but you know, to get a response from the public, I feel like we need to see what they want. It's not just, this is just an idea for us. So, I mean,
public hearing.
Well, that's what it is, it's about
Yeah.
discussing, it's not just an idea for us,
No.
cause it's gonna affect the community too.
Right.
But, you know, we do want the community response to it.
I definitely
You know?
do, but I definitely feel like if we're gonna go forward with it,
And they might
whoever's
have a lot
gonna
of people
drive
that
the
might
bus,
come and
if
say-
that's gonna be Mr. Merrill, whoever's gonna drive that bus, needs to definitely at least try to meet or have a meeting with all the bar owners. That way you can get a clear reflection as to what they think. Cause some bar owners may want it, you know, I mean, I don't know what they want. I didn't put this on here, but I definitely think,
But the
oh,
bar
I need
owners
I need more information
Yeah, that's fine.
from them
But the bar
before.
owners should think about the patrons that go to their
Yes.
bars. It's not just about you, Natalie. If
I'm
I-
not saying
but
that,
what
but I'm
saying
saying
is, if I
that
own a
if we're
bar,
gonna
if I own
go
a bar, in my
further with
opinion,
this,
right? But what I'm
we
saying
need
is,
more
if I own a
information
bar,
locally.
if I own a bar, my participation in owning a bar doesn't mean that everything I want, the people that's frequenting my bar is gonna want.
No, I'm not saying it
It's
needs
not just
to,
about me.
No, I'm not saying it needs to be what the bar owner wants. I'm saying that is who their business, those taxpayers, we will affect them one way or another if we do this. And if we're gonna push forward, I'd like to see more investigative work on your part, since you're the one putting this on here,
That's
as to
fine.
what these bar owners want.
But the people should wanna say what they want to.
Yes.
Because it don't matter if you own
Exactly,
a
but I
bar or
can't
not,
say David
the
Merrill,
people
please
gotta
meet
go
with
in
the
the
city
bar
of
and
New
they gonna give the
Iberia.
money
Okay,
to
I
sit
have
in
an
there
idea.
and do
Would
all
y'all
that.
like for us to have a public hearing and ask,
Yes.
you know, put it on the next agenda, put it in the paper, and invite people to come and speak concerning this issue and try and get a pulse of the community?
I support Mr. Merrill, but also we gotta hear from the public, cause we represent the public.
Right.
And public person is
Exactly.
smoking, no smoking in my house, no smoking in my car. I can't stand smoking, I don't go where they smoke. Cause it's, your clothes get full of it, your hair get full of it, and
Sure
everything
do.
air conditioned. Smoking is a dirty job. I'm gonna tell you, it's not good for your health. And
But that's
those
something I
who
just
do it,
wanna
they're
propose.
addicted.
If it don't
I
work,
know
it's
they're
not.
addicted.
I'm gonna get
Some of them
Mr.
take
Swear
a
and then
stop.
Mr. Lewis next.
I can give y'all my personal experience from that. I was glad when we stopped smoking in public buildings, because they would come in that counter, I'm waiting on them, somebody got a cigarette blowing that smoke in my
Exactly.
face. that-
Exactly.
You know, but that
That's
didn't
what I'm
stop them
talking
from coming in and buy
Yeah.
cigarettes, they still come buy cigarettes, you know.
Mr. Lewis?
And Mayor and Ms. Merrill and this council, we talk about the public, but you know what? At the end of the day, I don't go nowhere where it's behavior or habit that's going on that I don't want to go. Now, maybe some do. I don't. If I don't want to go around smoking, if I go in the bar, and that's far and in between, believe it or not, far and in between. Because one thing my mother always taught me, whatever I wanted, I could do it at home. She preferred me doing it at home where I was safe, where she could look at me. That's what I instill in my children. I prefer you doing it at home where I can watch your behavior if you're drinking the beer or having a stiff drink. Thank God my children are stiff drink. They like me with that. But my only thing is, I got 4 calls yesterday from business owners. And I understand what they're saying. And if I'm of the opinion, unless you can show me something else, maybe no smoking is good in certain venues. Some of these people livelihoods, and if you don't want to be around the smoke, don't go. Stay at your house, 'cause I don't go nowhere. Where?
All right, are y'all in agreement that we can put it on the agenda for the next council meeting
put
as
it.
a public hearing and invite the public to come? Mr. Merrill, is that good?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Okay, good discussion. The next city council meeting will be held Tuesday, June 2nd. The city offices will be closed Monday, May 25th, in observance of Memorial Day. And also Heather asked me to announce that they will have the volunteer camp in West End Park this summer. It will be called Back in the Game, and it begins on June 1st through July 31st. I don't have times on here.
June first,
8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m.
Can I ask her a question?
who's
And-
in response to that?
What's the
Heather,
ages?
Heather,
Yeah, that's
why don't you come up?
Yeah, Heather, come
Yeah,
up.
all right.
Cause there's some
Yes.
questions that I'm
if you
pretty
don't
sure they
mind,
got
man.
people out here wanna
If
be
y'all
able to
don't
know.
mind, we'll let Heather come up and tell you a little bit about the program.
That's a positive program.
Yes. It is going to begin June 1st through July 31st. It's going to be on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 8:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m., ages 8 through 14. If anyone is under the age of 8, they must have a parent with them throughout the course of the day. And they don't have to stay the entire day, but the time that the child is there, the parent has to be there.
Another question.
8:30 to 3:30 on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
And
When is the grand opening, the first day of?
June 1st.
Heather,
And
Right.
I want to reiterate for everyone to know that this is a volunteer program, and we have some very dedicated individuals
That's
in the
right.
West End
and I applaud y'all
that
too,
are
Heather.
Yes.
donating their time
Yes.
to do this
Right.
program.
to be
Last
done.
year, it was fantastic. The people
Heather.
donated the food, they came and volunteered. It was
And that's
beautiful.
part of what
Oh,
we
yes.
wanted,
That's
the
our-
community to know. It is a community-funded program, and we are asking the community to donate foods, because we do have someone who is gonna prepare the lunches for the children and the volunteers, so we're just asking that social groups and organizations.
I'll give y'all a donation, Heather.
If you call, if you call us at the park, I just got a list today
Okay.
of how much of what items we're gonna need.
But you'll
We
take
can-
cash
we
too,
can
right?
give.
Take
We don't want cash. If you can put,
Check. Oh, check money
You
off.
take,
we would rather you put it on a gift card
Right.
Gift card?
to like a Super One or a Walmart. That
okay.
way we can keep track of, how the money is
How
being
many
spent.
people that y'all gonna be able to take in? That's what I want.
We are only, our advertisement was to take up to 200 kids.
Okay.
That's it.
That's what I needed to know.
Right.
So
That's
to
a
the
lot.
public, we are announcing there is a summer camp starting June the 1st to July the 31st. It's gonna operate Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's operated by volunteer, and we asking for donation from the public to come forward to feed our kids a meal while they're there. And I'll be there.
Heather, can you announce the phone number in case someone wants to?
Yes, it's 337-369-2337.
Need to
Someone would
talk
like
to
to make a
anybody.
donation of time or money or
I'll give you all.
supplies.
Right.
They can call that
One
number.
more
And
question.
we are open to accept volunteers as well.
Who do they make the check to if they wanna give you money?
We would prefer a gift
You
card,
have no checks?
please.
Okay.
Or
We
bring
don't
students.
wanna get into
I'm
that.
confused.
We don't wanna get into that.
I don't know that we can take, can we legally take gift cards?
Or if they wanna
Not to
purchase
be
the
like a
foods
Debbie
for
Downer,
us.
you know what I mean?
We better,
What's
you know what?
happened?
We need to check with Kimberly and
Okay.
our auditors before we start.
But we can give
It's
food
not going
without-
through the
without giving
city.
no money.
Nothing's going through the
Right,
city.
I
No.
mean,
So that would be
we have-
individual, that would be
we have
individual.
we have two other organizations who are partnering with us. It's Kingdom Business Outreach Ministries and the West End Council of Neighborhood Associations,
And I
Inc.
think it would be best if the donations would go through those organizations.
Right,
Since
and-
the city, it's a.
And,
Yeah,
and,
but if-
and
that's
that's,
what I'm saying.
Those
and
are
that's
nonprofits.
what we're asking. You know,
Because
they contact us, but,
This
we're
is-
gonna get that to
But if we
them.
give an individual donation, it's not considered just because I'm giving it through the council, huh?
Ms. Dominic,
Is it?
It needs to be
But
given.
if it's collected
through
through
those
the
organ-
park,
It needs to
if
be
it's
given
collected
through
through the
those
facilities at the
organizations.
park.
I would myself,
feel
I
like
wanna
that's-
give
We used
food,
to
I
give
wanna
it
buy
to the
food
park.
and give to you,
Furnish
you know.
Okay. We'll get with, Heather and work out the details,
Right.
but in the I think the money, if you wanna give the donation, am I right?
Right.
Mr. DeQuier, it should go to the nonprofits.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's what
I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I want everybody to donate.
369-2337. I'm sorry, Ms.
Can we get the name of some of the organizations so people?
She just gave two of them.
Those